Hello, everybody. Welcome to Aspiring Architect. I know it's been quite some time before, we actually produced the last video, but then here we are today. So we are going to make a complete series on Python. So we are going to start with the absolute basics. This would be the beginner series for Python, and you absolutely need no knowledge. Uh, you are going to start from the scratch with me. We are going to learn together, and you'll be like a proper programmer in maybe like by the end of the series. So why Python, right? Why did I choose Python to actually start a new module or a new playlist? So the reason why we would want to know Python is, you know, you it's first thing is it's pretty easy. It's simple to write Python when actually compared to other programming languages like Golang. It's simple, it's efficient. For beginners, this is the most recommended, and there are like a lot of jobs you can actually get by you know writing Python. Python today is like used in a lot of tech stuff, right? Like it could be web apps, it could be a desktop app, or it could be machine learning, or it could be something like artificial intelligence, or it could be DevOps. So there is no end. You can what you can actually do with Python. But then before we even get to this, first let's try to understand what can we even achieve with Python, right? So let's switch to the screen. So when I actually type Python in Google, I see a few web pages popping up, but then please remember that python.org is the official Python, you know, web page, www.python.org. Click on the download section. We are not downloading Python yet. We're just trying to understand why Python. So what does it mean by becoming a full stack developer, right? So this is more like we're talking about technologies, but then first let's try to understand what is front end. So the web page which you are seeing right now, the Python's official web page, this is the front end, right? You can actually see stuff. You have the Python logo and the web page, the search button. So all of this is actually you know front end, and front end can be like written in multiple technologies, right? Like HTML, CSS. So there are n number of technologies, but then I've stated a couple of which are the most popular. And then you have the backend. Backend would be something like where you write logics or the functionality. So if I were to give you an example of how the backend, why do we even need a backend, right? So there's a donate button over here. So the moment I click on it, some operations are being performed on the back end. It's not like just the front end, right? You have the front end, the contribution amount and everything is the front end. But then when you click on something, something happens, right? It goes out to the back end. The back end is going to fetch the database, MySQL. Uh, then you get your tables, columns, your data. It's going to be displayed again your front end. So again, data is going into the MySQL. So this is a sequence of sequence of steps which are being performed in the backend. So front end is something which you just see, but then backend is something where operations are being performed. So in order to actually get to the front end, first you'll have to know backend because you can uh, relate better. So that's the reason we are starting with Python. Why Python again? Python is a backend technology, right? To get a complete full stack overview, you would need like Python, and then you'll have like Django, and then you need MySQL, the database, these kind of technologies. So we've seen what is a front end, we've seen what is a back end. When you say a full stack developer, it means both the front end and then also the back end, right? So you have the front end. I'm just trying to put you a visual representation how everything looks, right? And then we have the backend. have the front end and the back end. Um, and then you have the front end technologies. This could be like HTML, CSS, etc. This is the front end. And then coming to the back end, as we discussed, there is Python, which we are going to look into. And then you have Django, and then you have MySQL. So when you actually combine these technologies together, right? When you actually combine these technologies together, you become a full stack developer. I hope you get it, right? Front end plus back end, you're able to build everything for your company or for yourself if you're something like a standalone or you want to start your own business, that kind of stuff. So this is about maybe like if there is enough support and enough encouragement, we could actually get to all of it, right? You could become like a Python full stack developer. Just imagine how beautiful that would be. But then let's see how the videos are being received, and then we can plan accordingly. But then my promise over here is to do Python for complete beginners, right? And then uh, let's talk about Python programming. We're going to start with the Python programming, right? um, so what is Python? Python is a simple, it's a programming language, correct? It's a programming language. Python is a programming language, just like other programming languages. It could be Golang, which could be Java, which could be anything else, right? Python. And why do we want to write a program, right? What is a program? A program is a set of instructions. What does it mean by being platform independent? Platform independent means you can write your code, you can write your Python program in one computer. You could write it in one OS, right? For example, we are right now using uh, Windows computer, right? We are using operating system Windows. You can write your Python program in Windows. You can take it and execute in Linux. You could write it in Linux. You can bring it, execute Windows, no problem, right? So that is what it means by the being a platform independent. You can use any platform, you can use any OS. Python by basic gives you something called as an ideally. Ideally is available when you download and install Python. uh, Starting with the few classes, we're going to use ideally because it's simple. We don't want to overcomplicate things. Just starting, we want to start off really smooth and easy. Um, but then just as further information, right? You could use third-party tools, right? Like, for example, you can have the PyCharm, something called PyCharm, and then you have Visual Studio Code, and then you have Atom. You have n number of things which you can actually use, right? Let's just say Python and Visual Studio Code for now. You can download this. You can set up Python in it, and you're ready to go. Python especially is created for Python, but then nonetheless the Visual Studio Code is just also amazing, right? It's something which Fortune companies use to develop. For the developers in Fortune companies actually use the Visual Studio Code, uh, and also PyCharm definitely. So by learning actually Python, you'll get a lot of opportunities. As we discussed earlier, you can get into your dream MNC if you're looking out for a job, and if you're still studying. And for the people who are working like maybe operations team as an operations guy, you can actually learn Python and get into development. You can to be honest, you can earn more. You can you are more satisfied at your jobs rather than just doing the repetitive stuff. You can automate, you can have fun automating things. And again, Python is very easy, very easy to learn Python. Uh, in all the other programming languages, it's pretty easy to learn. Again, to start, if you are having absolutely no knowledge, that's absolutely fine. We're going to start from the scratch. We're going to learn together. Uh, so that's it. And then actually coming to the Python programming language, right? The Python programming language, we're going to break it down into two parts. The first part, the first part is core Python. Let's follow the title format. And then you have the advanced Python. Uh, just for you know to remember easy, we'll call the core Python as the series which we are currently doing. In the even this video is part of it. We'll call it the for beginners. We're going to call the core Python as beginners, and again we are going to move to advanced Python once we are done with the core Python. Um, where core Python we start from the scratch. So what are we going to do today, right? What are we going to do today? Today we are going to start the core Python, which is Python for basics, Python for beginners, and then we are going to install today. We are going to see how to download and install Python. We're going to go to the official site. We're going to download it, and then we're going to see a simple program. And ideally, we're going to write a small program using uh, print function, which could be like hello world. Uh, Pretty generic, I'd say, but then we'll still we're going to use it. Um, so let's start. Let's go to download Python. As you see, you just have to go to Google, look up for Python, or the better way would be to directly go into python.org /downloads using the complete URL, and look up for your for your OS. Uh, you can download it for Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac OS, or other depending upon what you're using. So right now I'm using Windows. It says download the latest version for Windows. I'm going to click on it. Depending upon your net speed, once it's done, just open the setup. Since I already have Python, it's asking me what do I want to do? Do I want to modify, repair, or uninstall? Right? Um, I'll just say like modify. I'm going to click on installs. Install. It's that easy, right? I mean, for you, for someone who doesn't actually have Python so far, there would be similar options, right? You're going to have similar options when you click on this file. Um, what next? Based on the OS, you download the Python, you install it. Just go for the standard installation, no custom installation. Just go for the standard installation. It would be pretty easy that way. Once you have downloaded Python, it's time to open IDLE. You'll have something called as the IDLE. Just open it. So I have the IDLE open. This is also called as the IDLE shell, which you currently see. Ignore the browser behind. Um, so you have these three arrows. This is the prompt where you can write your commands. So as we are here, um, just try to write a simple function, right? We are going to use the print function, and do not worry too much. We are going to come back. We are going to understand what is a print function, what are inbuilt functions, what are user defined functions. These concepts we are going to come back, but then we just want to get a hang of how the shell looks, right? Uh, just to help you with the print function, you write print in short letters, mind the case sensitive. You're going to give a parenthesis. Again, what is a parenthesis? In ideally, we're going to use the print function. Print is in lowercase, mind the case, and then this is called as a parenthesis. Whenever you call a whenever you call a function, you use a parenthesis. Please mind the spellings. I myself am a little bit conscious about the spellings. I tend to often use the correct spellings as long as I'm aware, as long as I know. So this is the print function, right? And what happens if I
Hello.
just do print? The program is nothing prints.
No,
Why is
whenever
that?
you
Because
source
uh,
feature
inside
is
print takes
too easy,
exactly
you'll get
you know
what
print requires an
what do I
argument.
want to
You
do?
want to
Do I
print
want to
something,
modify?
right? When you go to a stationery shop, you ask the store guy to print a copy. What do? You need some matter, right? If you just ask the store guy to print me a copy, what does he do? He would ask for some
Hello,
data, right?
everybody.
Else,
Welcome
if
to
you have a
Aspiring
printer at the
Architect.
home,
Having
when you
absolutely
actually
no knowledge,
uh,
that's
put
absolutely fine.
data,
Python prints for
you get
you.
the data
The
on your
ideally
A4 size
prints.
sheet or whatever
Welcome to
type
Aspiring
of
Architect for
paper
you.
you're using.
So
But
just
then what
just
happens
mind
if you just put
the
an empty sheet?
codes.
An empty sheet is printed. It's
You
the
could
same thing.
use single quotes
There is
or
no
double quotes,
major difference.
right?
So you're just printing. What happens when I give a
So
print
the print function,
and when I say welcome
you could put
to
anything in single
aspiring
quotes or
architect? I- Python prints for you. The ideally prints welcome to aspiring architect for you. So just mind the quotes. You could use single quotes or double quotes, right? So the print function, you could put anything in single quotes or put anything in double quotes. So for this is for the string. We'll come back again with what is a string. But then if you just want to print something, you'll have to put it inside the quotes, and then you just press the enter, and then you're going to have your output. But then if you actually want to write multiple lines of program, you can't do this directly on the shell. You're going to go to the file, you say new file, and then I write the same thing. I write print welcome to aspiring architect. It's the same thing, right? Literally the same thing. Um, So I click file, or I'll just say run module. It says source must be saved. Okay to save. Yeah, okay. It gives me some folder, asks me to save somewhere. I'll just do a desktop, and then I'll do a Python. I'll name this welcome.py. What is py? It's a Python extension. Please be cautious about it. Whenever you're saving something, you will have to use the Python extension .py. And again, whenever you want to run something, you'll have to first save it. That's what Python expects from you. I'll just click on save. You could put this anywhere. Just remember that you know where you're saving, right? In case you want to come back to the program and run it, or you want to edit it, or do things like this. I'm just going to save it. So it's going to give me the location of where the file is present, and then it's going to print me the output. It's that simple, right? It's the same thing, but then here you can write multiple lines of code rather than just one. So currently here there are no errors. You see no errors, but then oh, can you type anything in the Python? Can you type anything in the Python file? Just say ABC, right? What happens if I execute this? Okay, I'm going to save it. It says name error. Name ABC is not defined. Did you mean ABS? ABS could be an inbuilt some Python term, right? So it says ABC is not defined. So this is how you can actually see the errors, and you can actually trace back and read what's going on. Python errors are very good. You can easily understand what's going on. Just a rule of thumb. Uh, if you're writing programs and everything executes without an error, that means something is going on, at least while you're learning. The more the errors, the more you learn, at least that is what I believe. So we're going to end the session for today over here. Um, so this is what we discussed today. We've gone through the how you download, how you install. Installation is pretty similar. You just go to the site, you download it, and then install. For me, since I already had it, it asked me for modify. Just make sure you don't use the customize installation. Yeah. Again, I'm going to give you a task every day, so that way you actually learn. Just if you can spend an hour every day, you could actually start learning Python and land on your dream job, or you can become a freelancer or something. So uh, task for today, I'm going to give tasks like this for every day. And if you have any doubts, any questions, just let me know in the comment section. uh, I'll be sure to answer them for you. Any questions too. So today's task: download and install Python, and write, let's follow the title case, write a simple Python print function which prints hello world. Right, this is the task today. Not too complex, not too easy. There might be a easy if you're a little bit accustomed to the programming, but then we want to start for the absolute beginners. So that is all I have for today. If you think these videos are helpful, if you want me to, if you want to support me, and if you want to continue the journey ahead a lot more, please make sure you subscribe to our channel so that we can keep things rolling. And again, all the best. Welcome, future Python programmer. That's all I have. See you in the next.